trigger, that's the one that makes me go, and then I get into my car, and that's different.
If Michael's late for something, he has to forgo by Democrat times.
Is that right?
We had a college professor whose answer the first day of class was, there's a phone number up on the board, you will write it down, you will call
I'll
it right
see
now.
if I can
And
do
everybody
it.
got on
I
your phone,
got so much
this is
going
the
on.
atomic clock
The
that
library.
runs the Navy.
Yeah.
If you're not on time for this class, you're not on my time, you're late.
9 o'clock, sir.
Good job, Chairman.
Rise to pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Motion to correct, then approve the minutes from the September 12th meeting as listed on the agenda. Item number 4.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Warren to correct and approve the minutes from September 12th, 2012. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
I'll make a motion to ratify and or approve the cash disbursements and TPS payments listed on your agenda.
That would be item number 5.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I'll second it.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Jean Greco to approve the cash and EFT TPS payments. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So
Motion to approve item number 6 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Warren to approve the seminar requests or payments for seminar requests as so listed. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 7 as listed on your agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Warren.
What are they gonna do? It seems like a lot of money to me.
No, there's a lot of work. There's 4 big locust trees that gotta come down. They gotta remove all the stumps, remove the stumps that were here left in the last time. We're gonna clear 3 feet back from the guardrail and take anything that's leaning over the parking lot out and remove everything and take it out. So there's quite a bit of work to be done.
And these are the trees down on where the house is.
Down by the house that are in the parking lot that are gonna fall down. If they fall
Yeah,
down,
I'll
hit the
second
house, or hit the trailers down, it'll be far more expensive. Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Jean Greco to approve the quote from Brown's Tree Service. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
Motion to approve item number 8 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Warren to approve item 8, to authorize commissioners to sign purchase of service agreements between Susquehanna County Probation Services and Lackawanna Commissioners Probation, Children and Youth in Scranton. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 9 as listed on your agenda.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Warren to approve item 9, seconded by Commissioner Jean Greco, to authorize to sign the maintenance and service agreement between Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency and the Pennsylvania District Attorney's Institute. Questions or comments? And just so you understand what this is, this allows the victims to be notified when people are released from jail that the people have been released. All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 10.
Motion to approve item number 10 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion to approve item 10 by Commissioner Jean Greco, seconded by Commissioner Warren. Agreements between Lackawanna and Susquehanna County Behavioral Health and early intervention programs and the entities listed below. It's like on a complete whole page. You want to get a report on this, or you got someone to give
These
a
are the
report?
contracts, and Jim Martin is here from Lackawanna County.
Yeah, yes.
Just want to give an overview on it.
Yeah, just very briefly, these contracts are for fiscal year 12-13. We've been working very closely with our advisory board in relationship to cuts that we've received in appropriations for this fiscal year. Commissioner Warren chairs our finance committee. We've made some recommendations up to the finance committee that will be ultimately approved at our October meeting, and these contract figures reflect those recommendations. So, and we certainly appreciate your support, Commissioner Warren's support of the board meetings, very active on the Finance Committee, which is really one of our key committees in that board, so we appreciate that.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 11,
Motion to approve item number 11 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Warren to approve to allow Verizon to add an additional microwave dish and coaxial cable to the county's tower. Just so you understand, this is a tower that Verizon gave us, so of course we're gonna work with them. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 12 is listed on your agenda.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Jean Greco to approve item 12 from the Tax Claim Bureau, per the recommendation of Kathy Benedict, to exonerate the following trailer from the repository sale list. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve item number 13 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Warren to approve item 13, to accept with regret the resignation of Stephen Janowski, 911, effective November 28, 2012. Questions or comments? Yes.
How long did Stephen Janowski work before he resigned?
That I don't know.
4 or 5 years.
I'd have to look it up.
Probably
Yeah. Yeah.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So carried. Item 14,
I'll make a motion to approve item number 14 is listed on your agenda.
Second.
motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Jean Greco to approve item 14, termination of Ronald Dawson, 911, effective September 18th, per the recommendations of Art Donato. Questions or comments?
And why was Ronald Dawson terminated?
On a recommendation from the department head,
And do you know why Art Donato would recommend such a thing about him?
it's a personnel issue. All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve item number 15 as listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Warren to accept the resignation, retirement of John Benscooter from Soil Conservation, effective the end of day on October 5th, 2012. Questions or comments? Yes.
Is anyone replacing him?
That position's being reviewed, and most likely there will be someone going into that position, yes.
And how many people are in soil conservation at this point?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6?
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 16 is listed on your agenda.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Jean Greco to approve item 16, accept with regret the resignation of Susan Harvey. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve item number 17 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Warren to accept the resignation retirement of Kathleen Aldrich, Deputy Chief Clerk, effective the end of business day, November 28th, 2012. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 18 is listed on your agenda.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Jean Greco to accept the, acknowledging acceptance by President Judge Siemens, the verbal resignation of Samantha Robinson, Domestic Relations. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
Motion to approve item number 19 as listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Warren to approve the acknowledgement of the hiring of Laura Cobb of Montrose by President Judge Kent Siemens to the open full-time position of Domestic Relations Intake Officer. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Item 20.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 20 is listed on your agenda.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Jean Greco to approve the review of the sealed offer for the gas lease for the proposed exploration and production of property tax parcel as so listed. Questions or comments? Yes.
Do you have those bids?
It's right here.
Are you gonna read them?
I'm gonna open it right now as soon as we.
You are?
do this.
Well, can we comment after you open it? Cause that'll be a different scenario than right now it's sealed, so.
Well, we're not accepting it. All we're doing is open it for
I
review.
understand. Is it gonna change or we'll be able to comment after you open it and
Well,
let us
maybe I'll
know?
add a comment on the public comment too on it, so.
Okay, I'll tell you, where is the property located? I see the tax parcel number. Do you know what intersection or what it's near on what road?
It's in Rush Township. It's the old
County farm.
county farm.
Are there any private residences nearby it?
I'm sure at some point there's someplace.
I'm gonna give you a big cautionary tale, cause Mike's a lawyer, but if the county leases and some problems happen arising from any drilling on or near the property, you know there's a liability. Mike knows that too, and that's where we're ending up right now. It looks like we're gonna have to go after each other, cause the companies either fold or they have too much money to go up against in court, so we have to sue each other. So I'm just saying, if I'm a taxpayer here, so I'm concerned that if damage happens and somebody sues the property, you know, the company drilling, it also draws in the property owner, so just wanted to give a caveat, being a
All
taxpayer.
right, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Even though, how many do we get?
One. Must be a pretty prime spot.
Let me guess, WPX.
Well, it'll be probably from whoever got leases around there.
Out of Chesapeake.
Was it?
Chesapeake.
Oh, goody.
Let's see. Roughly 10 acres in Rush Township. They offer the following lease bonus royalty and lease term. $1,111 bonus, 10% or 20% royalty and a 5-year term under the CHK lease form.
We'll review it later.
We'll review it and have the attorney look at it and we'll go from there.
So that's
Sorry.
$1,011 per acre?
Yeah.
That's the best bid that Chesapeake could give?
That anybody
That's
gave.
what they submitted,
That's what they submitted, and 20% royalty for 5 years?
yeah.
So I can see they're still in financial straits, that's the best they can do?
Next item,
I'll make a motion to approve item number 21 is listed on your agenda.
Yeah, second.
motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Greco to accept the quote for 50 ballot boxes from Independent Tabulation. Questions or comments?
What kind of ballot boxes are these? Are they something you have to pull a lever? What does that mean, ballot box? To hold the
Ballot
ballots?
boxes so that the paper ballots that we do in Susquehanna County can slide into them.
To slide into it?
Yes. You remember the ones we had last year when we had the long ballots? A lot of the ballot boxes, the ballots were getting hung up when they were trying to slide them in. So these ballot boxes are a little bit bigger, they don't have the bar in them, so they're able to go into them a lot easier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So carried. Item 22.
Motion to approve item number 22.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Warren, to accept the quote for 2x4 and trough lighting at the county office building from Freedom Electric at $35,1848. Just to add to that, on that pricing on this batch of lighting, there's a $2,000 grant from Northern Tier that we've applied for to get the $2,000 back because of the high efficiency lighting that's going in. We also are eligible for rebates from First Energy, so we'll be applying for that. So a good portion of that's going to be paid for through grant money. What it does do is, when we're completely done, I've had a lighting study done at the county courthouse and the other buildings. Once all the lighting is upgraded, it'll reduce our lighting costs by over 50% to the county, so we'll have a huge savings. With the cost probably is gonna range, it's probably gonna be a 2-year payback period when we do the entire county, all the buildings together. But after the 2 years, you'll save about $4,000 a year in your lighting costs. So, any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, we have public comment for the commissioners meeting. Any questions? Alton, go ahead.
I just wondered if you ever heard Penn State on some of these extension questions.
What extension questions?
Well, what they were gonna do and what they wasn't gonna do.
Well, I had a meeting, I was part of a conference call yesterday, and I found out that Susquehanna County is paying more than their fair share, rather than the rest of the counties, so we're just looking for equal.
In other words, same as it was. Pretty much.
Pretty much.
I have something.
Yes.
Let's make this easy.
Yes.
I would make a motion right now to reject this, and I'll
Yes.
tell you why.
Yep.
Very easy. Paying 20% royalty, but it's less. The same percentage share of all production costs, post-production cost, and less the same percentage share of all taxes, blah, 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 and impact fees. Act 13 says that any reference to a deduction makes it void. You can't do that, but they're taking all the cost out. That's a moving target. There's normally an addendum on these leases, that when they quote the royalty, it says without any deductions and very specific about what they can't take out. So I can tell you after looking at this, I would not agree to accept it. So why wait 2 weeks to,
So did you just make a
Is
motion?
that a mo-
I just made a motion to reject this
I'll
lease.
second that motion, based on what you.
A motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Warren to reject. Questions or comments? Yes.
Thank you, Mike. First of all, at $1,000 or near it, they're gonna resell it. They've had a lease on my property for 5 years. They haven't even made a move, and nor are they gonna drill. They're gonna wait till the prices go up, and they're gonna flip it, just like they've done every other lease. So I concur with Mike. I think it's a good idea to toss that one in the trash can.
Okay,
All in
motion-
favor?
Aye, aye. Motion to close commissioners, open
Right.
salary board. We got more?
No, we got more comments.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out why WPX sent me a letter, DEP did, or DEP sent me a letter that said, after testing my water once at my house and showing the elevated levels of iron and other substances that are above MCL, they then sent me a letter that says it's not related to gas drilling in the area. Find it kind of funny, they've been investigating for 1.5 years in my area, other damages, and they have not come to determination yet. So I have a request into Secretary Crancher to find out. They haven't even come to second test to see if it's gone up or down or stayed the same. So just letting you know that's what's going on with us. Was at Farm Aid this week and had a lot of fun, but if you don't know, Farm Aid had a 3-hour course on Friday called Farm Aid Forum, Shale Gas Extraction and the Family Farm. 27 years they've been doing that. They've only been in Pennsylvania twice. 7 years ago in Pittsburgh, they came to Hershey and they had an entire forum with a couple of attorneys up front talking about how the family farms are affected or can be affected by gas drilling. So I thought that was very forward of them. I'll also tell you that my right to know request to DEP that was returned within 24 hours of me, and they've hunted for 30 days, is due on Monday. Between now and Monday, they have to respond. It is directly related to whether a public restaurant's water, of any public restaurant, is accessible to us, the public, who go and drink there. According to the Safe Drinking Water Act, we have access to any public water source to know whether their water is safe. Also, farms, and that's gonna be a huge one. I've asked if farmers that produce food are a public water source. They punted for 30 days. That's from Robert Morrison, their chief legal counsel of the whole DEP, bounced that back to us. So in the next few days, I'm gonna have an answer. The next meeting, I'll come and tell you what they said. If their answer is no, we have no right to know whether a public restaurant's water is safe or not, or a farm producing food, guess what I'm gonna do? My lawyer's gonna go right after the DEP and say, no, because we're just gonna enforce the EPA's regulations on them anyway. Because theirs is that is a public source. I don't know why it would be different in the state of Pennsylvania. They can't provide something looser than the federal regulations, only the same or stronger. So just letting you know, it's a big issue, because if you have a farm and you produce food, there may be ability to know whether your water is good or not. And I'm not against farmers, I'm totally pro-farmers. But if you're producing product that might be contaminated and go out to the public, you're opening yourself up to a lot of legal jeopardy that way, and the public itself. So just letting you know, they have to give me a response by Monday. And I'll tell you what, I was not here 2 weeks ago, but I heard that you guys punted on the fact that the Susquehanna County Business Forum gave Cabot Business of the Year. And you said you don't have anything to do with that, except for you put in place every one of the people on that board. You bring them on, you appoint them. That's disingenuous as far as I'm concerned. You put the people on there, you can't tell them what they say. But my problem is, I want Cabot to fix the problems they've effectively had go here. And you know, Lennox is in play now, that's also in play. And Demick is still there, no matter what they say, Demick is still in play, no matter what anybody's seeing in the paper. My concern is, it's an insult. If you're even potentially harmed by a company and then they get Business of the Year, and I understand, I thank Cabot directly for their donations and what they're doing in the community with their money. But that doesn't let you get away with contaminating or damaging people's private property and not fixing it. That's an insult to those people. Every time they see a truck or the van drive by with Cabot Oil and Gas on it, I would be very upset if I was either in litigation or had potentially been harmed. Potentially, I say, because it has to come out in court what happened. So I'm just letting you know, that to me, that was a big insult. We can thank them, but making a Business of the Year was really, I think, a black mark on the Susquehanna County Business Forum. It made them look totally in the pocket for the industry, which should not be where they're at. They should be happy they're here and the income that's happening. But to start throwing around, you're the best, we love you. I said it before, they donate a lot of money to the hospital. That's great, because I think we're gonna need it, sadly, when they get done with what they're doing here. So, that's my 2 cents worth, thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
I'd like to say that I went to the compressor station with 2 separate visits the past 2 weeks, and people had a meter for noise, noise meter, and we were on the road in front of the Button Road Teal compressor, and we tested it from between 70 and 80 decibels on 2 separate occasions. And even on one occasion, the door, which is usually open on the compressor station, was shut. So it's still tested at up to 80 decibels. So what is our noise ordinance all about in our county for compressor stations? Can anything be done about this noise that's constant 24/7? And besides that, they have blowdowns at least once or twice a week, which is even louder. What can you do about your own county ordinance? Yeah. What can you do? Does that mean anything to you?
Does it mean anything?
Yeah, can you do anything? Can you enforce the county ordinance, and how would you interpret it in relation to if we put a meter in front of it on the road and it shows up to 80 decibels?
Well, again, this question came up before, and we got the response back from the solicitor as to the procedures, and I'll have to dig that back out again.
So you can't tell us right now what the response
off
from
the
the
top of my
solicitor
head.
is? What about Mike, since you are a solicitor?
Is there neighbors there? Why aren't they complaining about it?
I'm
Is there
complaining.
neighbors close to it?
Yes, there's neighbors.
Why aren't they?
Well, we did have a complaint from a neighbor near the Lathrop station, and nothing was done. And we were told by Alan Hall to go get a meter and test it ourselves. So now we have a meter and we tested it. So what can you do about it, Mike? You're a
Enforce
solicitor.
the ordinance.
So how would you enforce it?
Well, I'm not gonna go into all the legal procedure that's gotta be done, but it's pretty clear. If I'm a neighbor next to that compressor station, it's violating the ordinance, they have a right to file a complaint, which is why we put it in place.
And, all right, so we'll get the neighbors have to come forward. I can't just come forward, it's somebody on the road.
Yeah, tell them, go to the planning commission.
Go to the planning commission, make a complaint.
Yes, Mr. Steve.
Real quick, if you have ridden on Silver Creek Road, my road, right in front of where they just put a pad in at the house next door, they had a giant road collapse. I talked to the PennDOT guy this morning, they'd never seen anything like it. It literally went from flat to like it's a 3-foot drop off. Right now they're emergency repairing it right now, PennDOT is. It just happened on Friday when the PennDOT guy was there. But if you go down there, either when you're heading west, you could launch in the air like a ramp, or you're heading east, it drops off 3 feet, it's at an angle like that. If you don't go 2 miles an hour, it'll take the bottom right out of your vehicle. They're not relating it to anything, but of course they're bonded. There's a bonding on there by Williams WPX, but I asked, is there any relationship? And he said, we went up on the pad site right above it to look. They have been moving earth, digging, and doing all these things. So just letting you know, it was a big, and PennDOT's right there, so that's the good news. But if you've never seen anything, they've never seen anything like it, but it was a real big, he said just a shift, the whole road like an earthquake, that's all they ever see that. It dropped down, so it's about a 3-foot lower section of the road, just to let you know.
Any other public comment? No.
I was also on the road driving in here from my home. This is in Franklin Township, so I passed Salt Springs Park. It's only not even a quarter of a mile from the park. They're putting in a gas pad, from what I can see. And then the road is caved in. It's a paved road, and it caved in. So I didn't drive over it. I stopped in front of it, and I took video of it. So I have it on video, so you can see it, or anyone, and I'll be uploading it on YouTube. So I spoke to the PennDOT people, and Mr. Ryan spoke to me, and he related it to the construction going on right now for the pad, and that the earth is actually separating up there. And then after the separation, the road caved in on both sides. So they're trying to repair it now with modified. So just to let you know, they said this has never happened before.
Okay, any other public comment?
Motion to adjourn.
No, wait.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to thank the commissioners for extending the Meals on Wheels program to the 5 days, because I'm personally involved with that. And I couldn't get my dad out of bed this morning, but I know when Meals on Wheels gets there, he's gonna get up and he's gonna have a good hot meal. And it's just so important, and I think you did a very good thing. I want to publicly thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. One thing I just want to say is, a couple meetings I had this last week, one of them, of course, was the Area Agency on Aging, and one thing we talked about is, the Meals on Wheels and what we're trying to accomplish. And of course, our biggest struggle at that point right now is funding. We continue to have more and more cuts in funding from the state, which is impacting a lot of programs for seniors and for people in need. We also are seeing cuts that are going through tree hab, which is going to affect heating oil and other programs for people that are in need. These cuts keep coming down. I mean, people need to understand that, yes, we picked up the slack on the meals for the seniors, and we feel that's important. But the county is not going to be able to pick up the slack for everything the state cuts. The state is on this program now where they're just cutting everything and pushing it down to the county level and saying that it's not their problem, it's a county level problem and a local problem, and it's going to come to a head. I mean, people are not going to either be able to afford to live here, or we're not going to have the services because all these grants have dried up and all this money is not coming back down anymore. And that's the biggest fallacy of grant money, is programs get started, people get hired under the grant money dries up, then where does the money come from? And the only place left is to get it is from the local, and that's a big problem. So
Well,
with that,
and a lot of these people don't feel, they feel it's a handout and they don't want to take it. And to me, they've been paying property taxes here all these years.
Yep.
This is something that they've earned, and I really am thankful that you did that, and also for the great job with the transportation program, because that's a wonderful thing for everybody in the county. So again, thank you.
we continue to review that. Tree Hab and Ronald have been working real hard on that to continue to cycle out the old big gas guzzlers and get more energy efficient vehicles, newer ones, smaller ones that get more miles per gallon, so that's been an extreme help to us. So, yes, sir.
In relation to what you just said, since we've had drilling for the past 4 years, what can you do as commissioners to appeal to the governor to ask for a severance tax, some kind of a tax on all the gas companies who are making millions, billions from our gas, and which all of it in this county is being pumped out of the county? What can you do to appeal for a tax? If they can hear from every county that all these cutbacks are happening, all the services are being cut, despite all of these wells that are being drilled. We have over 9,000 wells right now in Pennsylvania.
Do you understand what happens if you go to a severance tax? Do you really get what's gonna happen with that? If you go to severance tax, you lose all your money to the county. It's gonna go to Harrisburg.
Some kind of a tax, severance, or pick something to tax them.
If you run this from the state, which they're trying to do, they've already put all the requirements into Act 13 to tie our hands behind our back, but if you give them the authority to tax at the state level and take it all to Harrisburg and keep it, you won't get it back. The answer isn't a severance tax, the answer is to try and get the state to stop trying to control the county and the local government so much that we have no authority to do anything.
So then can you then file a lawsuit like Bucks County and fight Act 13?
Yes, go ahead.
A question in regards to 22. You said that we were saving over the next 2 years with the switch over of high energy and high efficiency lighting.
Right.
Has the county looked into alternative energy sources like putting solar panels on all the roofs of the buildings, setting up solar farms? If we have open available land and we can start to reclaim through cleaner energy usage and start to knock the bill down that way, would that also be something that the commission would be looking into?
Well, yeah, that's the next, one of the next steps for me is, the first thing to do, of course, was the lighting because a lot of the grants and a lot of the funding for the lighting reimbursements dries up, so we want to be able to cash in on that right away. So, the lighting itself is a huge cost. Plus, the other thing that people don't understand with the lighting is when you're going from incandescent lights and these style, the old T12 fluorescents, and you're going to T8s and you're going to LEDs like our 911 center will all be converted to LED. There's no heat from those lights coming off, which saves huge energy costs in the summertime because of the air conditioning that's required and things like that. Plus the maintenance. When we talk a 2-year payback on just the cost alone from the energy savings, that doesn't include the savings you get from the maintenance department, because now you don't have to replace all these bulbs all the time. A lot of these bulbs, like the LEDs, they got 26-year life on them. So all those things together, is a huge savings to the county. The next step is to look at the energy consumption here as far as heating and cooling and what we can do to take in and try and address those programs. We've got an old coal boiler downstairs that, they don't even make parts for anymore. Every time we need something, it has to get machined to get made for it. But the idea, the next step is to see once, the natural gas is supposed to come into the towns next year. Once all that occurs, is to analyze and see what we can do as far as natural gas conversion. Definitely looking at solar, wind projects. I've looked at wind projects before. Although you would think there's enough wind in this area to generate, even with the, 150-meter tower, there's still not consistent enough wind to run a huge windmill to generate enough electricity to make it cost effective.
Right.
So we're going to look into, the next step is to look into our heating and cooling systems and how we can take and look at cost savings there, either through solar panels. We got a huge roof on this place, and there is areas that we can put panels out. But also looking at natural gas to see what kind of effect that could have to try and analyze all those programs.
Right, I ask because there are some counties that are now putting a solar panel on each street light. And with
Right.
the power that it draws, they're no longer paying to run the street lights
Right.
at night. It's self-sustaining.
Right, PennDOT's been doing that for years with their signs on the road. They run solar panels for their emergency signs. It's something that we've got to look into. And, it's a step-by-step process and trying to get through it. Right now, I'm engulfed right now in our engineering that we need for the county. We have our engineer for the county for our bridge and dam inspections. That contract expires end of this year. We have to go through a new PennDOT procedure to select a new one. And I've spent probably a month and probably will spend another 2 weeks reading engineering proposals and ranking and submitting to PennDOT so that they can start the ball. So there's a lot of time consumption right there. So, but yes, we will continue to look at things and try to find ways to save costs to the county. Okay, yes.
I'd like to address this to Mary Ann. Mary Ann, I see that you hardly speak lately or past few months. Could you answer any question about how can we what can we do to stop all of the cuts or reduce the cuts and the funding to social services and any other services? Do you have any ideas?
What can we do?
What can you do? What can the county do? What can you as a commissioner do? What can you offer and say to the state, why are we having all these cutbacks? What can be done? I mean, what can you offer? You've been in, how many terms have you had so far?
This is my 9th year.
This is your 9th year, so what can you suggest based on all your experience?
Well, I think that, the governor is going to pass the budget and he's going to do what he's going to do. This is why we're dealing with 4-H right now and the cuts that are going on to Penn State and their monies. And that's why Penn State expects us to be paying more. We have been paying more for years. That's why we picked up what we did with the Area Agency on Aging and Meals on Wheels and transportation that we keep going in the county. And all of these service providers that we just signed all of those contracts.
And I think the answer is that we've all have made statements that the cuts are cutting too deep. I know that working on the boards that you do with mental health and behavioral health, that those committees are all going back to Harrisburg and trying to lobby and do things to get programs in place to try to keep the funding as well as children and youth and everything else. Everybody is trying to do everything they can to lobby to keep the funding, but the train's coming down the tracks, it's on a mission, and it's not gonna jump off the tracks for us. They're gonna get what they want, and they're gonna push it through, and they're convinced that there's too much money being spent in those areas, and that they can reduce it, and it's not gonna have an effect, and until they see the effect, there's not gonna be a change, so.
Thank you.
Motion
Got a
to
motion
adjourn?
to adjourn open salary board
Second.
meeting.
Motion
Oh,
by
I'd like to ask
Commissioner
one more
Jean
thing. You have a clock up there. Is there any way you can repair the clock? I know your funding is limited and you have so many cutbacks, but there's a clock that doesn't work. Is that,
There's one that works there.
Could I-
well, you can't see it out front.
The clock actually does work. We did invest money in it to work, but it needs to be wound every so often.
Ah.
And we rely on maintenance to do that.
We'll see if we can get it wound.
Thank you.
Okay, motion to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll open the salary board at this time.
Motion to approve the minutes of the August 8th meeting.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Treasurer Benedict. Questions or comments? That's the treasurer. Maybe that'll be your next.
I like my title the way it is, thank you very much.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Okay, item number 4, we're gonna address salary range.
all right, my recommendation to the panel is that the salary range for supervisors, I would make 38 to 45, depending on education and experience due to increased responsibilities.
Sue, what do you think about that?
I think that it's a very fair salary for someone that is starting new at the $45,000 range. I think that for the caseworkers that have been there the longest are making more than $45,000 a year, so they will not be applying for that position. Your most seasoned workers will not be applying for it.
But isn't those the people we want in the supervisory position, the ones that have been there the longest, that know what's going on and how to deal with the day-to-day problems we have?
Yes. My recommendation, I think that if you look for somebody coming in from outside of the agency, that the $45,000 a year is a fair salary. If you could look at, for those, and I have no idea with union contracts, since I'm not involved with that, but if we could take a look at if someone applies that is already working for the agency and say they're making 48, is there any way?
It's already a caseworker.
That's already a caseworker. Would there be any way to look at that for giving them maybe like one bump? And if that's not a possibility, that's not a possibility. And whoever's director will then have to cope with trying to find the person that is best suited to do that job.
So one of the problems you're confronted with, and I think we're trying to correct, is you've got caseworkers that will not take a supervisory position because they'll have to take a cut in pay.
That's correct.
But they're the people you want in the supervisory position because they know the most.
That's who I would want.
They've got the experience.
That's correct.
I'll second it.
Second one.
I thought you
38 to
made the motion
45.
with his recommendation.
38 to 45? Is that where you wanna keep
Did I
it?
make the motion?
I
Yeah,
thought
you
you were
did.
making the motion and Alan was recommending what he thought the salary range should be.
Yeah.
No, I just,
I'll
no,
second it
I didn't
if
make
that
the
was-
motion, I just said we're
Oh,
gonna
okay.
talk
Do you want,
about.
well, she's
somebody-
telling you right now that, the 45 is too low. Do you want to keep it at 45 or do you want to go to 50?
Could I,
Yes.
Go ahead.
could I ask what they're making right now?
I
I think the highest is 45.9 now.
Yeah, who, caseworker or
No,
supervisor?
to start, no, supervisors, what do they,
33,996, almost 34,000 to start. Is what the starting salary has been for quite a few years
and that's across the board?
for a supervisor.
Okay. So there, it doesn't matter, there was no range based on experience
Correct.
or qualifications or anything? Starting at 34, so we're going to 38 to 45,
No, it's a range, depending
Yes,
on,
depending on qualifications, experience.
but I don't know based on what Sue says if that's high enough.
Right, that's what I'm
I
saying.
mean, you want the best people that have been there with the most experience.
Right,
I mean, I want somebody in a supervisory position that's done the job for 20 or 25 years, rather than some, even better than a master's degree social work who has no experience. I want the experience over the education, because the person who's already there for the 20 years had to have the education to begin with. Now they've got the experience. We all know the experience is worth almost as much or more than the education. You agree with that?
I still value the education, but I like.
Well,
the
you gotta have it to get in the door. You don't get it without the education, is my
I think
point.
the master's degree does bring something.
You
to
gotta
the
be
table.
there with the education, or you don't even get your foot in the door.
That's correct.
well, then why don't you recommend 38?
Well, I don't wanna have to revisit this again, because we have another problem in a year or two. Let's
I agree.
get it, so I'm asking Sue these questions. Sue, do you think that's high enough to keep the qualified people with the education and the experience to get them to be willing to take a supervisory position without us having to go outside of what we have to get a good person?
My current staff has said that they will not take a cut in pay to become supervisor.
And at 38 to 45, then you're telling me is not
That
enough.
is not high enough
Right.
to promote.
Where do we have to be?
I provided that, I would say 50,000.
38 to 50 then. 38 to 50 gives you the ability that if somebody comes in from the outside, you don't have to start them at 50. But if you have somebody inside that has the years of experience in the education.
We can give them the 50, will that do it?
I believe it will.
And make that motion.
Okay, so the other motion is not,
I didn't make a motion, I just said we're gonna talk about the salary
Okay,
range.
so we have a motion now by Commissioner Jean Greco to set the salary at 38 to 50,000 per year, depending on education and experience due to the increased responsibilities. So we have a motion.
I'll second it.
We have a second by Commissioner Warren. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
I got the same questions about item number 5. For the director. What kind of numbers we talking about for
Well,
director?
If you're gonna have your supervisors at 50, you should be, 55 to 60 at least.
Sue?
I would say 60,000.
Because we run into the same problem with, once we have a supervisor in there that's now, maybe with years of experience, is making in the 50s?
Actually, you have a supervisor that is making less than caseworkers at this point.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't, but we didn't get a raise due to the union contract, and since the starting salary for supervisor is from 2004, it
So
didn't
we're a little
take
behind
up.
the 8
We're a
ball.
little behind the 8 ball. So I really compliment you for taking a look at this now to increase the salaries.
What about the Me Too? Neither one of these, because we're setting this now, will not run us up against the Me Too clause in the union contracts, correct?
the union can do whatever they want to do, but
Yes.
we have verified what we feel are increases in responsibility that the supervisors now have due to new regulations that will take care of.
Which is forcing us to revisit this.
That's exactly correct.
Will the 55 to 60 do it?
I think 60,000 is a good salary for.
Make the motion.
We got a
55 to
motion,
60 salary.
Commissioner Jean Greco, set salary between 55 and 60,000 per year, depending on education and experience, with a 6-month probation period, and benefits per the county personnel manual. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, I got a question about that,
Okay.
that I'm just now reading.
Uh,
We hire somebody with a probation period.
mhm.
I don't know how we address that. I've been working there 20 years.
Mhm.
You want me to be the agency director. Do I have to start over and serve a 6-month probationary period that if I fail, you fire me?
At that position,
Well, that's the question.
yes.
Yeah. I mean, if you put them in there and they're not capable of performing the job, you want to have the mechanism to be able to either remove them back.
They can transfer back for, I think it's 90 days, 60 or 90 days they
Well,
can
that's what I
transfer
wanna
back.
be cautious about.
Right, but
Because I'm not gonna take the job.
that's,
We're gonna lose qualified people if they think, geez, they don't like me. I lose my job, not only am I not the director, I don't have the job I had before.
unless you change the personnel policy,
I
I don't know
want
what you
that-
do.
To be clear, that they're not exposed to that. Well, the 6-month probationary period to me says, all right, you hire me as a director, 6 months go by and for whatever reason, and there's been all kinds of reasons I've seen over the years, you fire them, now they have no job. I would say that would be a detriment to my taking the director's job, and I don't want it to be.
Right.
You understand what I'm
I
saying?
agree with what you're saying. I think what it has to be is, and I guess we'll have to visit the personnel manual, but I think the way to handle this is at the time of recommending somebody, hiring somebody, that you have an agreement that says that, you know, there's a 6-month probation period, and if they don't like their position, or if it doesn't work out for either party, they have the ability to go back to their, to step back.
I don't want them exposed to,
Because you hired somebody else.
I don't want that trap. And it's an unforeseen one.
But I think you can handle that when you do the actual interview and do the actual
Okay.
hiring of the individual.
I'm fine with that, as long as
I think you
we,
can address it then, instead of, no.
we understand.
Without changing the policy manual, I don't know how, but that would.
And
be up
it
to
may
you,
be
your
covered,
decision.
maybe it's covered in the, I haven't read it in a long time, so I'm not sure. I just don't want that to be a trap.
And not just for children and youth, for
Not for
every.
It'd be for anybody, yeah, I
Right.
wouldn't want that to happen anyway.
Right. Yeah, we wanna be fair, and
Yes,
if
that's
it's not gonna
all.
work, it's not gonna work.
So with
But
that
isn't that
caveat,
what the policy manual says?
see, I don't remember if it does
Isn't
or not.
that what the policy manual said? Isn't that what the policy
I heard that,
manual
isn't
said?
what the policy, everybody's talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yep.
the probation period.
Yes, there's a probation period, that's it,
For
for every
everything.
job,
Yeah.
for everybody, union,
That's what it-
non-union,
But
everybody.
do they get to go back if they don't work out as a director?
How can they if somebody else is in the job?
Well, that's my point.
There's a specific period of time they can go back.
There
I
is.
can't remember
So there
what
is
it
a safety net there.
Yes, I can't remember what the time schedule
Okay.
is without.
As long as there's a safety net there,
Right.
then I'll make the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, is there a
I'll
second?
second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Warren, to set the, salary range at 55 to and 60,000 per year, depending on education and experience. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
I didn't get my hand up quick enough for a comment.
Go ahead.
I just really want to thank the commissioners and particularly thank Sylvia, because I think a lot of work has gone into really looking at what the salaries are. This is a big step, and I appreciate what you have done for children and youth as an agency. So thank you, Sylvia.
And we'd like to
commissioners.
thank you too for all your efforts that you put in, and we wish you well in your future endeavors. I see that you've got some things you're working on,
Yes, I
and
am.
I wish you all the luck in the world and hope it all works out for you.
Thank you. Thank
How
you
many
so
years
much.
were you here?
It'll be just,
35?
well, when I leave, it'll just be a 2 months short of 36.
Yeah, a long time. Thank you.
Okay, item 6.
Come on, Democrat, do item 6.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 6 is listed on your agenda.
Second,
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Jean Greco to approve the holiday schedules listed. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Any public comment in relation to the salary board? Yes.
I think Sue brought up a good point about a caseworker who's now making more than a supervisor. And this has happened across the board in the county, where you've had a first deputy position come available, but your second deputy, who's been in the office for many, many years,
Yeah.
can't move up because they've been there for so many years. So is the salary board going to look at, or the commissioners going to look at some way to make the contracts equitable so that you have the people with the most experience actually able to take the positions that they should be in?
It takes two to make it equitable, us and the union.
Right.
And a lot of the problems with what you just said is because it's in the union contract.
Right.
And that particular one is at their request.
And when most of your contracts go to arbitration, and it's binding arbitration, you're very limited as your ability to do anything. And that's the fallacy of this, is that with binding arbitration, you're very limited as how much you can do with your contract.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Warren to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.